before I start my presentation, I would like to drop in an insight. In the next 10 minutes, what I'll be covering is basically more related to technology and its role in the office of a CFO. When we start talking about technology, I think one word which is a buzz in the technology sector is at this point of time the AI bit. When we speak to the AI leaders, what they tell back is basically what we are going to do is achieve an AGI, which is called as artificial general intelligence, where basically the machine learning and machine decision making will be superior as compared to the collective humankind brain, right? And the moment that this will arrive, the world will change forever, right? And according to some prediction, this is going to come as soon as 2027, right? Can you just imagine that within next 3 to 4 years, the machine learning will be more powerful than the collective intelligence of the entire humankind? Just let that sink in. And now from that end, I'll just deep dive into my presentation. Okay. Oh my goodness. This is like, how do I operate this? Okay, super. So, it takes a while, right? So, not very long ago, the CFO office was more, and not very long ago, I mean, a bit while, it was more about documenting, accounting the stuff, right? And from then on, the CFO office changed to basically Excels and basically accounting the data properly and moving ahead to show the retrospective data of what has happened, maybe quarters back, maybe years back, and maybe give them a trend line so as to forecast, right? Okay, so yeah, and then we moved on to the on-premise solutions where basically you were able to do the data crunching more faster in more easier way to Excels, and then basically all of us basically are now in some shape and form moved to the cloud. But then I just said that right now I think we were talking about what is the future of CFO that is looking like, right? And I think that the technology plays a very superior role in that. Right now, the technology is only there to basically support you and show you the data so that you can take the decision making. But at this point of time, the technology is not enabling to a very far extent to basically take you decisions, right? But with the advent of LLMs, the GPTs, the automations, and like the hyper automations that we have at this point of time, and within like next couple of years, it is surely going to basically help you do a better decision making. And with the AGI coming in, the CFO office who is not able to leverage the technology to make the decision makings better will lag behind those offices where the decision making is far more superior, right? So now we will speak about how the compliance basically is affecting the CFO office. Now, there has been like more than close to around 7 years in which the GST has come in, right? It has been almost 7 years in which the GST has come in. And right now, if I ask the CFOs out here, and we have been like working with a lot of CFOs, I think not more than 40% CFOs will have the confidence that the data that has been going into the government reporting and all that is basically correct, or the visibility is right over there, right? So when we talk about okay. So when that is the case, basically, when government is doing data crunching one after another, and basically throwing up notices that are like 6 to 7 years behind the date from the current date, what do we do, right? Where is that data gone? And the ability of replying to notices has been severely affected. So therefore, what we will need is basically the systems which will make sure that you have the data for so long and basically are able to reconcile whenever, wherever, at whichever time possible, right? So we'll move to the next slide. Yeah. So according to certain surveys, the 70% of digital transformations fail in India, right? And what is the reason for these 70% failures is basically the technology that is, and it is not that the CFO office is maybe not up to it, but basically the technology and the implementation of technology is not up to the mark where they are able to understand the requirements of a CFO office and therefore enable it within a certain duration of time. We have seen so many technological interventions keep on going one after the other and take enormous amount of time and energy, and imagine the change management associated with that, right? So, so how do we cope when such failures happen, right? So now, though there is like invention of big data, there is invention of AI, right? But entire data set and that importance of data set emanates from the finance function, right? And if we are not automating the core or the data central, which is basically the finance function, then basically everything goes for a toss, right? So whether you have implemented whichever ERP and whatever the middle layers, if that truth, the single source of truth is not correct, then entire intervention that you do, be it big data or be it any kind of integrations across the board, they are bound to fail, right? And there is so much of data at this point of time, not only which is generated internally to the organization, but even externally in terms of reporting, in terms of GST, in terms of direct tax, that there has to be a structure which is created for this data. And it cannot be just lying everywhere, maybe in some Excels or maybe in some middle layer, right? So therefore, we'll have to make sure that whatever system that you adopt to basically not only collates this data, but structures it in a format that is basically viable for you and your teams to basically absorb. Okay, so when we talk about compliance, the major problem is that the government is asking a data set which is in completely different format, whereas your data is structured in a format which is basically designed for your organization, right? It is based on the LOBs, it is based on the businesses, it is based on the PANs, and it is segregated down the line depending on how your departments are basically designed, right? But the government does not want the data in that particular format, right? The government, for example, I'll give you an instance that, for example, GST asks the data GST-wise and not your department-wise, right? So there is a significant difference in terms of data structures that a government is asking for you, whether be it any kind of compliance, and how you are storing the data in your ERP, right? So when there is a significant change in the structure in which the data has been asked, so therefore, it is very important that you have a middleware or basically an internal transformative system which will basically convert this data. And that should be done automatically. And at this point of time, I'm sure that if you ask any of your compliance team members, whether it is related to taxation, whether it is related to ESG, the data to basically extract and collate it in the format that is required by the government takes immense amount of time and energy, right? They'll be scrambling for the data, and at the end of the time, there'll be misses, and there'll be penalties, and so on and so forth. So therefore, it is very important to have a technology which will give this transformation for each one of your compliance departments, right? I'll just skim through since we are having a time limit. I'll just move to what are the things that are required to basically do that transformation layer. We have a video for that. We will just play that video.
We know finance leaders like you want control and assurance, not compliance headaches. You have all the data in your general ledger. Yet, 80% of enterprises are struggling to get assurance that their compliance data is accurate. This is because of a lack of tools and time. What happens then is that inaccurate reports are generated from multiple general ledger tables, creating a loop of endless data transformation. What you need in compliance is control and assurance. Large spreadsheets take forever to load, wasting valuable time. Even worse, they might crash, setting you back even further. Filing ITC claims notices are either inaccurate, blocked, or increased. Your teams are tired, frustrated with burning eyes and aching backs.
There's a GST audit coming up. I'm worried that my turnover and tax as per my financials and returns do not match. And I don't know the reasons for this gap yet. Also, I don't know the risk I'm carrying.
I'm on the verge of finalizing my 3P for the month, but I don't know if my team has expensed out all the ineligible ITC. I'm worried I don't want to overclaim my ITC.
I have to finalize my monthly TDS payment, but I'm not sure if the TDS advances, provisions, and credit notes have all been correctly reported in my TDS return, or I have to correct my previous TDS return.
I have just finished filing my GST and TDS returns for the month, but my team tells me that they had to make some changes in the sales register, purchase register, and TDS while filing. I'm worried that those changes will get missed in the ERP.
Let us show you how you can do this. Actually, from your general ledger. Directly, every day. Introducing GL Stream, the groundbreaking technology designed to power the future of finance. Now, stream your GLs for compliance. Your GL streams to us, so you can do a revenue GL versus SR recon and identify the reason for gaps such as deferred revenue, journal vouchers, unbilled revenue, and intra-company stock transfers. Your GL streams to us. You can run recon between GST purchase register and expense ledgers and identify for which expenses you have a mismatch. You report your tax liability correctly with this. No Excels, final answer. Your GL streams to us. We can automatically extract all TDS reversal entries for set-off and reporting in TDS returns for corrections. Your GL streams to us. You can tally your books with SR and PR at any point in time to ensure there is an alignment in your books, return data, and data with government. Take complete control. Get assured compliance even before monthly book closure with GL Stream. You evolve as your business.
Okay, so as we come to the end of the presentation, what I want to emphasize is that since the data structures are different, therefore you need to have some transformation structure which will enable you to basically do all kinds of compliances for the CFO office. And what we are doing is enabling AI so that there is not a workflow that will not be suggestive to you, that you take certain steps of intervention so that entirety in compliances are taken care of in entirety, right? So we are a bunch of technologists who have created this technology, and it is made from India for the world. At this point of time, we are not only supplying to India, but also across the world, be it GCC, be it Southeast Asia, and we have started our operations in US and Europe. And right now in India, we are catering to close to around 4,000 plus odd customers, and they have been relying on us on the technology bit to solve their compliances. Thank you. Thanks a lot.